Hello and welcome to another Way Back Wednesday on Stampin' on the Hill. I'm Deb Kais. Today I thought I would bring back stamping on other mediums. And let me show you the page. You've seen the book, right? I've shown you. I'll grab the book here a minute. There are 2 volumes of this with all kinds of samples and stuff. So I keep going through them and hope to bring you some, and I'm trying to do new ideas with the old ideas, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so we're going to stamp today. Let me show you down here. This was stamping on twill tape. And this right here is the twill tape that we used to have. And I bet, remember when we used to have wheels? We used to have a stamping wheel, and those were cool. And I bet that's what the stars were. But then I also have the words here. And it also says that you can dye this, which you all know anyway, because we've done some of that. You know, there are different ways to color ribbon, and we've researched some of those, or I've shown different techniques with you. One of my favorite ones really is just using an ink pad and drawing your ribbon or baker's twine through the pad, holding it down with something like a Stampin' Sponge or maybe a brayer, something like that. Anyway, hold it down and drag it through the ink, maybe turn it over and try it again a couple times. That's for me, that's the easiest way to do it. You can also use re-inkers. Anyway, so today we're going to recreate that stamping on the ribbon thing that we used to call the twill tape, because at the time that's all there was. That was ribbony and cool that you could stamp on like that. So today, let's try this again with the hands version here. Today I'm using the Timeless Arrangements bundle. And I want to tell you that this bundle is being retired at the end of April. So if you want this one, you better get it. I'm trying to use some of these things that I know are going to retire to bring them to your attention before they do retire. I've pulled a couple off of here that we're going to use, but these are the dies. And then there's a whole bunch of great greetings in here. And then just a few little floral options too. Bunch of stuff. Most of it is around thank you, but I've been using this for some other stuff. So it's not only for thank yous. It just looks that way. Anyway, let's put this aside and show you the card. Here we go. Oh, can you pull it up closer to the camera so you can see it? Anyway, we're gonna stamp on the ribbon, and let me show you the supplies that we're gonna use for this. I have a piece of basic white that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And of course, we're going to turn it this way. And then I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4. This is copper clay. And then my layer on top of that is going to be 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So it's just an 1/8 inch shorter than the copper layer. And so I have, we're also going to need another piece of scrap of white to cut out the pieces. I went ahead and already cut out the white pieces for us. So I have the label and I have a couple of the florals already. So we're just going to set those aside. I'm going to set the card base aside and the front of this aside. And I'm going to show you a trick here. Because, we're covering this whole piece up with this, right? So why not cut our cutout pieces out of the center? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do this quick. And you need to leave that border around the edge. But if we put them in here like this, and then we'll bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm using the platform number 1 and the shim number 2, and then we'll put these, oh, cutting plate number 3 too. I'm sorry about that. So all 3 of those, and then these are kind of in the middle. I'm making sure that I'm not too close to any of the edges. I'm going to put my second cutting plate on the top and then run this through. I always offset mine. You'll notice they're beveled on the edges, so you don't really have to do that. But I started doing it a long time ago and it works for me, so I just keep doing it. And then we'll run this through here. You'll hear some cracking. That's normal. And then we'll bring pieces over. You can see they just cut in the middle. And now pop them out. We'll pop this out. I just usually use my thumb, but you can use your point of your scissors, your paper snips, or if you have the take your pick tool, that works very well as well. Pull these out of here. This is awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we can put this on here, and although it looks like you can see through, once you get through all of the layers, you won't be able to see that anymore. So we're going to go ahead and put the white layer on top of here, and see what I'm doing? There we go. Well, with the green glue, you can reposition this. I guess I'm not doing very well on camera today. So that's gives us the layer there. And then I want to put the ribbon on before I put this layer onto that. So what I'm going to do is do the stamping next. So I'm going to bring in my piercing mat, and we're using, on the label, we're using copper clay. And on this label, we're going to stamp a very big. So we'll ink that one up and try to stamp right in the center. Straight down, straight back up for a nice clean image. And then I brought in both pieces because this is a combo, but we're only going to use the burlap ribbon. But it was it's called Real Red and Burlap ribbon combo. And so I wanted to just show you what I was doing. And I said we were going to use about 6 inches of this. Grab my ribbon scissors. And I'm going to, not sure if you can see all the way to the edge here, so I'm just going to measure on my grid mat here about 6 inches and cut. It's a little too close to the edge with the scissors. So now this should go around here nicely. I'm also going to grab my Scotch tape. I forgot to get that out, so I just have a little Scotch tape here. Okay, so let's see which side. I don't think it matters which side we actually stamp on, but we're going to use the Memento ink. And I've got the thank you on this side of my block. You know me, I use both sides. That way I don't have as many things on my desk. And I'm going to eye this up, knowing that I'm going to flip the edges around the back side. I'm going to eye this up and try to get it as far to the right side of my card as I possibly can. So about here, I think. this out of the way. And there's my thank you. And we'll put the lid back on. Because if you're anything like me, as soon as you leave the lid off, it makes a big, huge mess. I think we're done with this too, so we'll move that. So now on here, I'm going to slide it down as far as we possibly can. And before I do that, oops, I'm sorry about that. Hit my camera. Before I do that, I'm going to glue these pieces together. So you'll notice that they layer. So you can grab and stack them by this bar right here. You can stack them like this. You could stack it this way if you wanted to go this way with it, but we're going to do it this way. So I'm going to stack the dotty floral on top of the leafy floral, and then I'm going to do just the opposite of that. You have to put the glue on the right side though, Deb. So we'll glue that to this one. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to end up being behind the label. And then I'm going to glue the dotty one of the copper clay onto the white. Line those up. Okay. Looks like this one didn't come out all the way. Let's give it a little poke. There we go. All right, and then these are going to end up on the back side of here. So this is how it's built so that you can layer it right behind here. So we're going to put one on the top, and then we're going to put the other one on the bottom. Oops. A little bit of glue there. Line this up. We don't want to be able to see that copper clay bar from the across the top there. And then we're going to do the same thing with this in the bottom. And layer this one like this. Okay, so using this now as a guide, what I'm going to do is kind of figure out where my thank you needs to go. So if I put this, apparently I didn't hold it a minute. So if I put this, I'm just kind of dry fitting. So maybe I want my thank you to be over a little bit farther. I'm going to have a little bit of extra room here, but yeah, I think that'll be good. So what I'm going to do is kind of hold this and flip it. And then I'm going to flip these ends of the ribbon around, and I'm just going to use a little bit of Scotch tape to hold them down because it's easier to use Scotch tape than it is to try to put your, well, specifically try to use green glue because that doesn't work very well on ribbon to try to adhere it. But I also don't have, so maybe I could have used a little bit bigger piece than 6 inches. That's okay. I'm going to pull it and tuck it. It's going to work. Except that it's crooked. So we're going to untuck it. So I'm going to pull this off. Look at it again from the front. And then I'm going to flip it around and adhere it down. Give it a good squeeze there with my Scotch tape. Then I can layer this on top of this. So again with the green glue around all the edges here. And that'll go down here. And see, you can't even see where we cut those pieces out of the inside, can you? No. And it saved a bit of paper, because then we didn't have extra scraps. So on this, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals here, one on either side of this label. Put those over, and then I'm going to rearrange so that I'm trying not to, I want to make sure that my leaves aren't going off of the rest of my card base, or it won't fit in the envelope. But I also want to make sure that I can read my thank you. So if you just set this down gently, yeah, that'll work. If you set it down gently, you can still pick it back up and reposition it. But so once you're good, then go ahead and give it a press. And then that's your card. I thought it turned out pretty well. Let me come back up here for you. Yeah, so that, I thought it turned out pretty well. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate that. And until next time, thanks for watching.